Okay, so I have created a shape. Just save a little bit of time here. Um, let's go to where it is. Sphere. So I've just created a sphere. If you want a flat bottom on the sphere, just use the check the hemisphere, and then take off a little bit to erase the bottom, right? So I can just, and I'm going to show you one thing I did here, just so you understand why I did it. I left a little bit, a little tiny gap. Whoops, I went the wrong way. I didn't want that much. Here we go. So I left a little tiny gap here because you're going to see when we apply another modifier later on, you're going to want this edge. I'll explain this once we get into polygon modeling in more detail. But for now, just leave, whenever you're going to do this, just leave a little gap like this, not a full one, because what's going to happen is this is going to round off when we apply the Turbo Smooth, and you're going to want that little edge there so it doesn't tessellate. Yeah, something small like that. That'll work. Okay, so I did that. My sphere, hemisphere, and then I added a taper, and this is the amount I used, and then I also moved the gizmo up to create this shape. Now, once you start working with this a little bit, start playing around with it, trying this on different shapes, you'll know exactly what to do. You'll know this is what you want to do. I knew exactly what I wanted to do based on the fact that I've been using this program a long time and that I know what I need to do to get the shape I want. I can tell you what to do as I have in previous videos, but you're going to have to practice and play around with it and try these modifiers that we've covered so far. Try different things, see what it gets you, and then eventually it will start to stick and you'll know the correct combination of choices to make to get the shapes you want. Okay? And in the interim, I'm just going to show you different things and show you how I got there. Somewhere around midterm, this will really start to come together and stick. I know it's all a lot right now. It really is like learning Greek or Chinese, but we'll get there. Okay? Just hang in there and keep practicing. Practice these small little chunks. I've broken these videos down into small chunks. Practice that. Even if you're only practicing 30 minutes to an hour a day, it will start to, your unconscious brain will start to catch on. It'll eventually stick, and it will become second nature, and you won't have to put so much effort into the learning process. Okay? So we're learning this in small bites because it's very overwhelming to take a course where you try to cover everything quickly. I've done that in the past. I took a class, actually it was on a different program. It was an intensive 3-day class, and I remembered about 10% of what we covered. So I'm intentionally breaking this down into smaller bites for you guys because I want you to process it in small chunks so that you don't get overwhelmed and you don't get burnt out. But you also have to practice it every day, or I'm going to get ahead of you and you're not going to be able to catch up. Okay? So make sure you're practicing small bites. Just want to repeat myself because they say that it takes 6 times roughly of hearing or seeing something before it sticks. So if I repeat myself, it's not because I think you guys are not getting it. It's just the brain needs to see things about 6 times or hear it about 6 times before it really sticks. So that's why I repeat myself. Okay? All right. So, and then the great thing about these videos is you can watch them again and again and again. And you can pause them and work on your software and go back and forth to help you, which I actually think is better than being in the classroom where we're all trying to do it at the same pace. So that's the nice thing about these videos is you can do them at your own pace. Okay, so back to this. So main thing I wanted to show you in this video is this. I'm going to zoom in here. Okay, so whenever you're in this, in order to get out of it, you have to click on it again and then click off of it. Otherwise, it will stay in there and it'll drive you nuts. Just double click to get off and then click down here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to create another shape. So this is the body of my character, and I want to give him a head. And I'm going to create, let's just create a sphere. And and I want my sphere to sit on top of this object. If I just draw a sphere right here, it's going to draw it down here on the ground, like that. That's not where I want it. I want it right here. So what I'm going to do is come over here to the right-hand side, and you see the word Auto Grid over Object Type. You want to check that box. Now, you see what's happening is I'm snapping, and you can watch over here while I'm over here. You see it's letting me go in, and you can zoom with your scroll wheel on your mouse to get closer. So it's letting me, now it's snapping right there to the grid. And look, I'm now able to draw my sphere on top of my other shape. Rotate this so you can see it better. Like that. Okay. Now it's not where I want it to be, so I can reposition it. But it at least doesn't put it down here on the ground, and it really helps me out. So what I'm going to do is select this. I'm going to pull it back up a little bit. Zoom in there so I can see. Yeah, so you can, while you're in these views working, you can scroll in and out with that mouse wheel. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is click on my Modify tab, and I'm going to round this off to 40. And then I can position it again. Let's put it right about, oh, that's too big. That's a nice thing about this. Just change it. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then I'm just going to position it roughly there. Okay. So I now have these two shapes that are independent of one another, but I want to join them together so that they act as one object. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select one of them, and I'm going to come over here to my Create tab, and I'm going to pull this down and go to Compound Objects. Right. And so over here on the right, third from the top, it says Boolean, B-O-O-L-E-A-N. That is a type of geometry. Charles Boole, I believe his name was Charles. His last name was Boole. He is a mathematician who explained this, so it's named after him. And basically what it is, best way to describe this is, you know how you have like an addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division equation, where you have, you know, one number plus another number equals, or one minus another equals, 1 times another equals, 1 divided by another equals. It's the exact same process. You're just doing it with forms. And forms are three-dimensional objects, such as spheres, boxes, toruses, these organic shapes that we've created on our own. So Boolean geometry is adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing volumes to get an end result. Okay, so that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to select Boolean, and because I picked this first, and you have to pick one or this will be grayed out. It won't let you select it. Okay, so because I had picked this first, it's already showing under my parameters, my Boolean parameters, it's already showing operands, sphere 1, which is what this shape is. Now, if I come down here where it says operand parameters, you're going to see that I can union, which is add, intersect, which is divide, subtract, and there isn't a multiply in this case. There's just add, divide, and subtract. Because technically in Boolean geometry, I guess multiplication works, it's just not an option. And then you have merge, attach, and insert, which are all also addition. But they act differently. Union is supposed to keep this, and erase what's left in between and join them together. It doesn't always work that way. Merge is supposed to just keep the two shapes and join them. Attach is supposed to just attach this one to this one. And then insert is more like you're putting this shape into this shape. Now, I want to add my sphere so I can perform my equation. So what I need to do is come up here under the parameters, add operands, select that button, and then select my other shape that I want to add. Now, you see both are union. So it has done exactly what it's supposed to do, which is it erased the overlap and joined them perfectly. This is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted to do. Now, I'm just going to come over here and do merge. You're going to see it changes the equation. I'm going to go back to union. If I do intersect, you're going to see all that's left is where they overlap. That's division. If I change it to subtract, it's going to subtract one from the other. That's a really great way to get a hole cut through another object. Okay, but for this I want union. All right, so now when I'm done, I'm going to click off of all of that, click off of everything, and then when I select it again, you're going to see this is now one object. So if I apply a modifier to my shape, let's just do taper, you see it treats it like it's one shape. It doesn't treat it like it's two separate shapes. Okay, and that's how we can join two shapes together to create a new shape. I'm going to save this, file save, and we'll build off of that. Okay, so I'm going to stop this video here and I will continue in the next.